Welcome to Nagesh Karasgi Orchid School. Myself Snehal Mane, teaching you science for grade 6. In the previous class, we have started a new lesson, that is lesson number 5, separation of substances. Before starting with the lesson, we will see a quick review of mixtures by a video.
Let's understand what are mixtures. Do you know the air we breathe is a mixture of several gases such as nitrogen, carbon dioxide, oxygen, etc. Likewise, seawater is also a mixture of various salts dissolved in it. Well, it means both air and seawater are examples of mixtures. A mixture is a combination of two or more substances mixed in any ratio. Different substances present in a mixture are called its constituents or components. For example, take a look at this fruit salad. Different fruits mixed together to form this mixture are its components. Mixture is an essential part of our life. Sometimes we prepare it. For example, kneading wheat flour to prepare dough, mixing salt in glass of water, etc. And sometimes we separate components of mixture. For example, separating tea leaves from the tea using a strainer, preparing of buttermilk from curd, etc. Let's take a closer look at some other mixtures we use in our everyday life. See this mixture of candies. You enjoy eating this whole mixture without sharing with others, isn't it? If we talk about a healthy mixture, then vegetable salad would be one of the choice. Mixtures are very important in our diet. A healthy, balanced diet involves a mixture of a wide variety of foods. In fact, gold used in making jewelry is usually a mixture of gold with silver and other metals. Now, look at these pictures. Do you observe any difference in these mixtures? First picture shows plain boiled rice, whereas second picture shows fried rice with so many vegetables in it. Well, there are two types of mixtures, that is, homogeneous mixture and heterogeneous mixture. A mixture whose composition is uniform throughout is called a homogeneous mixture, whereas a mixture whose composition is not uniform throughout is called a heterogeneous mixture. Let's check what have you learned so far. Now it's your turn to answer whether this mixture is homogeneous or heterogeneous.
Okay, so this is about the mixture. So mixture is a substance which has two or more components. A mixture is a substance which has two or more components. In the same way, we have studied about the different methods. Those were hand picking, which is the simplest method to remove the unwanted substances. Then the second method was sieving. is used for separating solid components of mixtures varying in sizes. Example, separation of sap from a wheat flour. The next method we have seen was winnowing. It is the method where farmers use this method to separate grains from husk. Winnowing is used to separate heavier and lighter components of a mixture by wind or by blowing air. So the lighter particles separated and the heavier particles settle down at the bottom. Now the next method that we are going to see in detail is threshing. Threshing is separation of grains from stalks is called threshing. In this process, a bundle of dried stalks of grain is beaten on hard object. In this process, a bundle of dried stalks, so this is a bundle of dried stalks of grain is beaten on this hard object. On beating stalks, grains fall down freely as this all the stalks get dried up. When it is beaten on the hard object, the grains fall down freely. So this method is called as threshing. Nowadays for threshing different instruments are used like a paddy thresher. These are machines, and this is the wheat thresher. For different grains we use the different machines like paddy thresher and wheat thresher. Threshing can be done manually or by animals like bullocks or by machines. Okay, so the stacks of harvested crops are thrashed against a slab of rock. Threshing is done in the same way as a washerman does with his clothes at Dhobi Ghat. Grains get separated from the husk by threshing. Threshing may be done manually or with the help of machines. So threshing is done manually or with the help of machines. Now the next method is magnetic separation. Magnetic separation. Before this we will see a video of winnowing.
Winnowing of wheat. Winnowing is used to separate the heavier and the lighter components of a mixture by wind or by blowing the air. Today, in the industrial world, it is done mechanically. This method is commonly used to separate the lighter husk particles from the heavier grains. The husk particles are carried away by the wind. This process can also be carried out manually by using the winnowing fan or basket. The winnowing basket is used to separate the wheat grains from the outer husk and chaff. Winnowing can also be described as the natural removal of the fine materials from coarse and getting husk-free wheat grains.
So this is about the winnowing. We will now we will see a video about the magnetic separation.
Magnetic separation method is used to separate constituents of mixtures when one of the constituents is magnetic in nature. Let us understand it with the help of an activity. For this, we need a magnet and a mixture. Move a magnet over the mixture. What did you observe? The magnetic material sticks to the surface of the magnet and can be easily removed from the mixture. Similarly, iron scraps are separated from the waste material by using a powerful magnet fitted on the frame. So in this activity, we can conclude that the materials which are magnetic can be easily separated by using a magnet.
So this is the method of magnetic separation where the magnetic objects are separated from a mixture. It is a technique by which magnetic substances, example iron, are separated from non-magnetic, example sulfur substances. In this method, a magnet is made to move over the mixture. In a mixture, the magnet is moved over. Magnetic substances stick to the magnet and are removed. All the magnetic substances which are present in the mixture are get separated with the help of magnet. As magnet, all the magnetic substances get stick to the magnet. This process is called as magnetic separation. So you can see here, for example, in a bowl there are some fillings of iron and sulfur. Iron and sulfur. When we move a magnet over it, so what happens, all the magnetic substances, that is iron, gets attached to the magnet and the iron fillings get separated and the sulfur gets separated. This technique is very useful to separate magnetic scraps from industrial waste. This technique is very useful to separate magnetic scraps from industrial waste. As you know, there are much scrap present everywhere, so this scrap can be separated, as magnetic scrap can be separated. Magnetic scrap are removed by crane equipped with a powerful magnet. This crane is attached to a powerful magnet and moved over the surface of mixtures. So this crane allows all the iron substances or magnetic substances to get attached to it and can be separated. So this is about the separation of substances. So let us have a look towards all the methods that we have studied about separation of mixtures.
A mixture is made up of two or more substances which are mixed but not chemically united. Different substances that constitute a mixture are called constituents or components of a mixture. Fruit salad is a mixture of different fruits. You can pick the fruit of your choice very easily from the fruit salad. But what if you are asked to separate grains from the chaff? In order to separate grains from the chaff, we have to use a different technique. We need to separate the mixture into its constituents in order to remove undesirable substances and obtain useful constituents. Let us discuss the various techniques used to separate mixtures of solids one by one. Sieving is one of the most commonly used methods for separating mixtures of solids. This method is used when there is considerable difference in the size of the components of solids. Sieve with pores of appropriate size is used to separate the constituents of the mixture. Sieving is an act of separating small particles from bigger ones by passing the mixture through a sieve. The sieve used for sifting the flour has very strong holes, which allow only very fine flour particles to pass through them. The coarse particles are left behind in the sieve. Another method used for the separation of solids from their mixture is threshing. Threshing is an act of separating the grains from the stalks. In this process, the bundle of dried stalks of grains is beaten on a hard object. On beating the stalk, the grains fall freely. The grains are then collected in a container. Next method of separation is winnowing. We know that grains are heavier than chaff. Therefore, in order to separate grains from the mixture of grains in chaff, the mixture is allowed to fall from a height so that the wind blows away the lighter chaff, while the heavier grains falls down. Hand picking is a very common method used for separating components of mixtures of solids. This method involves picking out substances from hand and separating them from others. The substances being separated may be undesirable substances like pieces of stones and rice. These undesirable substances are different from the rice in color and size. These substances could also be useful. For example, if you have a mixture of green and black grapes, then with the help of hand picking method, you can separate them. The choice of method used for separating components of mixture or solids depends on the difference in the properties of their components.
So we have seen the different methods, that is hand picking, sieving, threshing, winnowing. Now we will move forward. We will see the separation of solids from liquid. Before that we have seen the separation of solids from solid. Now we are going to see separation of solid from liquid. So methods of separation of solid from liquid are sedimentation and decantation, filtration, evaporation, condensation and churning. So we are going to see now one by one in detail. Do you know why your teacher advises you to avoid drinking groundwater? Anyone can tell me? Yes, because those contain impurities. Groundwater is generally contaminated. It is contaminated with clay and other solid particles. So it is not fit for drinking. So we need to clean, filter it, and then it is suitable to drink then. Now we are going to see about sedimentation. See, this is a jar, it is a flask. We have taken some water in it and we have added some mud particles in the water. And stir it. We have to stir it. What we observe, and we have to keep it aside for some time. After some time we observe that heavy mud particles settle down at bottom. Those are called as sediments. And the clear water is on the upside of the flask, and all the mud particles are in the water. So these are called as sediment, and this process is called as sedimentation. You can see here, when we have taken muddy water in a flask and stir it, it is in this way. But after some time, when we keep this flask still for some time and observe it, we can see that the clear water is appeared on the top of the flask. And at the bottom the sediments are left behind. And this is the process called as sedimentation. Separating insoluble solids in a liquid by allowing them to settle down is called sedimentation. Observe students, separating insoluble solids, these are the insoluble solids in a liquid, we are allowing them to settle down at the bottom. These are known as sediments. These are insoluble solids, and this process is known as sedimentation. Here we separated two different substances, like this is the solid substance which is insoluble and we call it as insoluble solid, and this is the liquid. So this is the process called sedimentation, where we use for the separation of substances like liquid and solid. In the same way, separating out the clear upper liquid. Now this clear upper liquid is separated slowly in the other jar without disturbing the bottom part. Whatever the clear water which we get in the process called sedimentation, this water is slowly separated in the other flask without disturbing it. So we get a clear water here, and this process of separating the clear water in the other jar slowly without disturbing the sediments is called as decantation. Separating out clear upper liquid may be along with the floating impurities by the process of pouring and without disturbing the sediments is called decantation. When we are pouring, maybe some impurities may be floating in the water, that also can be separated and without disturbing sediment. So this process is called as this process is called as decantation. So we have seen the two processes of removing the impurities as well as the separating the substances is sedimentation and decantation. Let us have a small video regarding this.
Have you ever seen your mother soaks rice grains and pulses in water before cooking? She does this to separate rice grains and pulses from the insoluble solid impurities like tiny pieces of straw, dirt, insects, etc. When you add water to the rice grains, the impurities like dust and soil particles go into the water, which becomes little dirty. Now, what will sink to the bottom of the vessel, rice grains or impurities? In this case, the rice grains being heavier settle down at the bottom and can be separated by sedimentation, while the decantation removes the water along with the dirt particles. Let us perform the following activity to separate sand particles from a mixture of sand and water by using sedimentation and decantation. For this activity, we need sand, water, glass rod, and an empty beaker. Take a beaker filled with water. Now, add some sand into it and mix them with the help of a glass rod. Leave the mixture undisturbed for some time. What did you observe? After some time, you will observe that the heavy sand particles settle down at the bottom of the beaker, which are called sediments, and the process is called sedimentation. Now, with the help of a glass rod, carefully pour the water on top into another beaker. The water collected in the beaker will be almost clear of sand particles. This process is called decantation.
So this was about the process called sedimentation and decantation. Let us move further. Settling down of heavier particles of insoluble solid in liquid is called sedimentation. Particles that settle down in liquid are called sediments. Pouring out liquid without disturbing the sediment is called decantation. So we have seen the two processes, that is sedimentation and decantation. Sedimentation is a very slow process. In order to increase the speed of sedimentation, potash alum is added to muddy water. Potash alum is added to muddy water. Clay particles stick to alum and its size increases. This phenomenon is called loading. Loading is the method to expedite sedimentation of finer particles of impurities. At times, we get muddy water in our taps. Mud particles are fine particles of impurities like clay, and they remain suspended in water for a long time. To obtain clean water in short time, a crystalline piece of alum is moved along the surface of muddy water. We have to take a piece of alum and move towards the surface, along the surface of a muddy water. Some alum gets dissolved in the water. Its particles get attached to the dust particles, making them heavy. Heavy particles settle down fast. This results in early sedimentation of fine dust particles, leaving behind clear water above. So this is called, this phenomenon where clay particles stick to alum and its size increases, this phenomenon is called as loading. The heavy particles settle at the bottom of the container and are removed by decantation. You can see here next. Fruit juices are filtered before consumption to remove seeds and pulp. As you have seen, when we make a lemonade or any other juice, these juices are filtered. Yes, with the help of a strainer, we filter these juices. Why these juices are filtered? Because before consumption, to remove seeds and pulp. Whatever the pulp is we find in the lemonade or any other juices, to remove that pulp and the seeds, so the juices are filtered before we consume them. Filtration. Now the other method we are going to see is filtration. It is used for separation of fine insoluble solid particles. Fine insoluble solid particles from liquid. Filter paper or piece of muslin cloth is commonly used as filter. Fruit or vegetable juices are generally filtered with strainer to separate seed and pulp. Cottage cheese, that is paneer, is prepared by this method at homes. So filtration is the method where it is done with the help of fine insoluble solid particles get separated with the help of a filter paper. With the help of a filter paper. Filter paper with tiny pores folded in the form of cone and fixed in funnel. Mixture allowed to pass through filter paper. Then whatever the mixture we have to filter, we have to pass through the filter paper. Insoluble solid particles left as residue on filter paper. Clear liquid collected as filtrate. Clear liquid is then collected as filtrate. Let us see here. Now you can see this is a filter paper. You can see this is a filter paper. This filter paper is round. This filter paper is round. Okay. Now as you can see here, this filter paper we have taken and then it is folded into two parts. Then it is folded into two parts. Okay. Then again it is folded into half. Again it is folded into half. We get in this way. Now this folded paper, one side we have to take and three sides at one side. As we can see here, there are four sides. So one side is separated and three sides are separated. We get a cone. We get a cone in such a way. We get a cone. So this cone is placed on a funnel. This cone is placed on a funnel and we pour the water with impurities and all the particles, solid particles get settled on this filter paper so that the impurities can be removed. So this is the method of filtration where we use the filter paper to filter the impurities. Where we use the filter paper to filter the impurities. So in this class we have seen the methods of separation of liquids to solids, that is sedimentation, decantation and filtration. In the next class we will see more about the different methods and have a review over the lesson. Till that time you can read the lesson thoroughly. Thank you students.